Ooh, am I live? I'm a bit early. I'm a bit early. So it's just me. I was kind of expecting to say, oh, we won't go live immediately. We'll wait until the 3 minutes are up. But no, here I am live. Welcome, welcome. Just whilst, because this isn't due to start till 2. So I'm just going to put a little something in the chatty box. So just bear with me a sec. Like Cilla Black. What's your name? Where'd you come from? Yeah. Right. So what I'd like to do, if you've not joined me in one of these hours before, the Empower Hour is all about using EFT, the power of EFT, or tapping, as it's often known, to help you move from feeling stuck and full of self-doubt and into feeling empowered, feeling confident. And the reason I found this to be so important is because before I met EFT, I was in a corporate job and it was extremely stressful. It wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I kind of just fallen into it. And I'd been there for like donkey's years. I've been there for 15 years. I've just kind of risen up through the ranks to a position where I really just didn't like at all. And I found it extremely stressful, and the whole company was extremely negative. And I was introduced to EFT. And I started using EFT specifically for stress management. And I would go out into the car at lunchtime and I would pop on a Brad Yates YouTube tap along video and I'd tap along to it. And I thought I was just using it to bring down my levels of stress. What I hadn't realized, which it did, what I hadn't realized is that at the same time, EFT is a little bit sneak. And as I was tapping for stress and how I felt, I was also thinking about the reasons why I felt like I did. So I felt trapped in my job. I didn't have the confidence or self-belief that I could do anything else and get paid similar sort of money. And all the good stuff is I'm not good enough. And so as I was tapping, I was thinking about that sort of stuff. It was getting worked on. It was getting released because it feeds into that stress response, and the stress response feeds into it. And so I wanted to come on and do these YouTube lives because, I'm not the cheapest. I'm not the most expensive either, but I'm not the cheapest. And sometimes, people just aren't in a position to be able to invest in one-to-one work. So I thought if I do these YouTube lives, then at least you can come on, you can ask me questions, you can share stuff, we can work on stuff together. And my sort of vision for this is for it to become as interactive as possible. Almost like a big group session. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to help you break through those blocks that are keeping you stuck and disempowered. I want to help you tap into your own personal power because, at the end of the day, EFT is a self-help tool. And I want to give you the power to be able to use that effectively. And so what we're going to do today is I'd like you to start to get clear on what it is that you want. So this is, how I start when people start working with me. This is one of the first things. What do you want? What do you want? And what I tend to hear is what people don't want. And I'm the same. People ask me, what do you want? And I can feel myself going off and I'll tell you what I don't want. Oh. Because we can be so focused on that. We can be so focused on the stuff in our lives that we don't want, that we can't sort of take a step back and think, oh, well, this is what I don't want. What do I want? And generally it's the opposite of what we don't want. So it's fairly easy to work out. But we don't often stop and think about what it is that we want. And without doing that, it's like we're saying we want to get to, I don't know, Ben Nevis. I don't know whether I'll pluck that out of my arse. But we haven't got a map. We don't have anything, a sat nav or anything like that to help guide us to where we want to go. And perhaps we're not even sure what Ben Nevis looks like. I mean, I wouldn't know Ben Nevis if I stumbled over it. Unless it had a big sign saying Ben Nevis, then perhaps I'd be a bit clued up. But if we don't know what we want, how can we move in that direction? And so what we're actually doing is we're focusing, we know what we don't want, we're focusing on what we don't want, as we end up moving in that direction towards the shit we don't want. People say, oh, I struggle to manifest. Actually, you're manifesting really fucking well. It's just not the stuff you were hoping to manifest. We are manifesting all the time. We are affirming stuff to ourselves all the time. But because use of language, use of words is just, we're just so used to it. These things just fall out of our mouths and we don't really put much thought behind it. We become very unconscious and unaware of what we're saying and the words we're using. So what I want to do in this particular session is I want you to start to think about what it is that you want. And if the first thing that comes to mind is the thing you don't want, that's okay, but reverse it, flip it. If that's what you don't want, then I'm guessing the opposite is true of what you do want. So if you don't want to be broke, then I'm guessing you want to be wealthy. If you don't want to be overweight, then I'm guessing you want to be healthy. Ooh, that rhymes. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'd like you to make a note of this. Write this down. And write it down in positive language, stuff you want, not what you don't want. And the way I do it with my clients is there's an application form. And the first question is, describe your ideal life. Who's in it? What are you doing? Where are you? What do you have? Because I want people to start thinking about this. I want people to start painting a picture in their minds of what it is that they actually want. And I want them to start feeling the feels around that. So when this hour is over, because I'm not expecting you to write all this down right now, but this is going to be really, really, really important. I'm going to invite you to write your ideal life. What is it that you want? Paint that picture, give yourself that direction. And then I want you to have a think about what you've written. Reread what you've written. And as you reread it, or even as you write it, because this can come up at any time, I want you to get super conscious of how it makes you feel. As you read that, as you read it yourself, either as you're writing it or afterwards, as you're rereading it, what are you feeling in your body? And what is your inner voice saying? Because what I'm inviting you to look for and to be conscious of are all the reasons you give yourself as to why you couldn't or shouldn't have that. Have a think about all the potential downsides to having that. So, for instance, if your ideal life includes creating more, generating more money, manifesting more money, what are the potential downsides of having more money? Well, you might have to work really hard, or you might think you do. So there's an increase in work, which might mean less time with family or with friends. There may be a fear that, everyone will want a piece of you. If you have money, are you going to start getting, beggars coming up to the table? If you know what I mean. So have a think about what the downsides of having the thing you want are, because this is one of the universal laws, is you can't have good without bad. You can't have happy without sad. You've got to know what sad feels like to know what happy feels like. You've got to be prepared to experience the bad to recognize when it's good, and vice versa. And there's nothing wrong with that. We've kind of demonized this, but actually there's nothing wrong with it. It's very, very natural. It is a universal law. But because we have kind of demonized the bad, we do our best to avoid it or ignore it. And so we go from something that's very holistic and whole, and we break it apart, and we only think about the good stuff. Or we only allow ourselves to focus on the good stuff. But unless we are conscious and aware of the potential bad stuff that goes with it, we're going to come across problems, because we're going to subconsciously resist. We are going to, sabotage ourselves, because we haven't allowed ourselves to look at the thing as a whole and say, okay, I want this. In order to have this other stuff may have to happen. It may be part of it. And can I deal with that? Am I okay with that? Because if I'm not, then maybe I should rethink the thing that I'm saying I want. There's no shame in that. But it's almost a case of you want to almost kind of highlight to yourself the potential. Hello, Jenny! Woo! We found chat. Woo! Give yourself a high five. Top banana. Completely derailed me. Where was I? Yes. So, you want to kind of, when you think of what you want, when you think of your ideal life, I want you to have a think about the stuff that is going to have to happen, that you're going to have to do to have that. Because, the secret is all well and good. The power of visualizations and intentions is all well and good, and it's all got its place and it's all important. But unless, I'm really sorry, but unless you take action on those intentions, fuck all is going to happen. It's the law of attraction. There's an action in the word. But rather than wait for, the not so good stuff, the bad stuff to just appear and throw you, I'm going to invite you to actually plan ahead for it. Plan ahead. Have a think about the stuff that you're going to have to do to have the life that you want. Plan out if you need to bring in more resources. Plan out if perhaps you need to go and learn something. Plan out if perhaps you're going to have to invest in something somewhere along the line. Plan out, be conscious and aware of some of the actions you're going to have to do that, maybe scare you, or you're not too comfortable with, or you don't currently know how to do them, because that's a big stopper. And we come out, I don't know how to do that. If you know ahead of time, then you can start to put things in place to learn. Or, my personal favorite, outsource. Do what you do best, outsource the rest. And then it doesn't come as a shock and surprise, and you're prepared for it. And on top of that, there's more. On top of that, if you are conscious and aware of the bad stuff that is going to come hand in hand with what you want, you can do preemptive tapping. You can feel in your body, when you look at this list and think about it, you can feel in your body where the resistance is coming up. And it's that you tap on. And as you tap, you're turning off your stress response. You're sorting out that resistance so that you can then do the actions. But unless you know what the actions are and you're thinking about it and you're planning it, how do you know where the resistance is going to come up? And if you don't know where it's going to come up, that's where it catches you out. Now, what I'm not saying is you plan this all out and then you stick to it. Come hail or high water. Stuff changes. You can change things. But you've got to have some kind of idea. You've got to have some kind of plan and some kind of conscious awareness of what is going to have to happen so that you can remove the resistance to that, so you can make peace with that, so you can accept it and go for your goal in a very holistic and conscious and empowered way. Now, the other thing I'd like you to consider when you are writing out your ideal life and the steps to be taken to achieve that is, in fact, there's two things. The first thing is become conscious of where you've tried to do this in the past and failed. Or so you think. Where in the past have you perhaps even said to people, I'm going to do this? You've certainly said it to yourself. I'm going to achieve X, Y, Z by this certain time. And then you haven't. And maybe you've gone, okay, that's okay. Stuff happened. That's fine. So I'm going to set this goal, which is probably just a little bit smaller by this time, which is perhaps just a little bit further away. And then for whatever reason, you don't hit that. And perhaps you've told people, it's a bit embarrassing. You're like, oh shit, this is twice now I haven't hit my goal. And so, well, goals are important. I need to have a goal. And so you set another goal, but it's just a bit smaller still. Your goals are going, they're reducing. And perhaps the timescale is getting bigger because you think if you can perhaps reduce it, you go in with a chance of actually hitting it. But you just keep not quite hitting it. So be very conscious when you are setting yourself intentions or goals. Be very conscious of what your inner voice is saying. Because my inner voice, helpful little beast that it is, says stuff like, you said that before. And you didn't do it. You keep saying this and you never achieve it. Let's just make that a little bit smaller because last time you said that, it didn't happen. Maybe let's not tell anyone because it's getting embarrassing. People told me I couldn't do it. I went for it anyway, and then I failed, and they were right, and now I feel really ashamed and embarrassed. And it's this kind of dialogue that stops us. Because a goal should stretch you. That's what it's there for. They're even called stretch goals. Clues in the title. It should stretch you. However, don't stretch yourself too much. Look at where you're at right now. And when you think about your goal, when you set your goal, you want something that in equal measures excites you and scares the shit out of you. Because if it doesn't scare the shit out of you just a little bit, it's not big enough. And if it doesn't excite you, what's the fucking point? So it wants to be equal measures, but it doesn't want to be so exciting. So for instance, if you're earning, 25k a year, and you set a goal that this time next year you're going to have a revenue of £1 million. I'm not saying it can't be done. And it'd be lovely if it could be done. But there's a little part of your subconscious going, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That's too much. It's too much. Whereas if perhaps you were on 25k a year and you set a goal for 50, that perhaps feels a little bit more doable. But also, weirdly, maybe the goal for the 50K feels a little bit more scary than the goal for 1 million. Because suddenly 50, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Could be done. So just be very conscious of that. And whatever goal, I mean, I'm using money, but whatever goal you set, you've got to be really, is it real? Does it stretch you, but is it also realistic? Does it give you equal measures of, oh, it's really exciting and scaring me shitless? And is it measurable? How will you know if you achieve the goal? It's going to be measurable. And ideally, there's some kind of time period in there. Again, be realistic with your time period. And by making it realistic, it actually generates more sort of physical feeling, more sort of fear, more sort of resistance than a pie in the sky goal. And it's that you want, because it's that that's giving you the information that you can then work on with your tapping. Now, on the in terms of the goal, I call it goal trauma. So when you've tried to achieve goals in the past and you've not hit them, that will also need to be addressed. And I think there's a tap along video on my YouTube channel for dealing with past, not hitting past goals. Because there's going to be that little voice in the back of your head going, yeah, but you said that before. Yeah, but I don't really think that's realistic. Yeah, but blah, 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 blah. And so I want you to listen out for that. So I'd like to start off the tapping today. I'd like you to think of a time where you said you would achieve something. Either you just said it to yourself or you said it to someone else, got yourself some accountability, whatever it is, and you didn't achieve the goal. So just for a moment, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Breath in and hold. And let it go. And one more, breath in and hold. And let it go. And then keeping your eyes closed, I'm going to invite you to think of that time where you have set yourself a goal and you haven't achieved it. And maybe it's something that other people said to you, don't do that. You can't do that. And you were like, no, I'm going to ignore you all. I'm going to do it anyway. I can do it. Or maybe it's just a goal you just keep setting for yourself and you just never quite hit. And each time you're reducing that goal a little bit more. But what I want you to do is, as you remember that time or times, I want you to notice how your body is reacting to it. Are you getting a knot in your solar plexus? Is your chest tightening? Is your head starting to hurt? Are your hands feeling twitchy? Or maybe something else? Really notice as you think of that time or those times where you failed to hit the goal, notice how your body responds to that. Allow yourself a moment to hear whatever it is your little inner voice is saying to you about it. Allow yourself to see the thoughts, memories, or images running through your head like a movie around those times. Maybe you can see other people there. Maybe it's just you. But allow yourself to really tune into this. I'd like you to become conscious of the intensity of what you're feeling. And just give that a number between 1 and 10. And if you want to share in the chat what your number is and where in your body you're feeling the intensity, please go ahead and do so. And when you're ready, taking a nice deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. And opening your eyes. I'm going to do some tapping around this. If you've not done tapping before, that's okay. Don't worry. All you're going to do is going to tap where I tap and repeat what I say. As we do that, I want you to really focus in on how you're feeling and the images playing in your mind and the stuff that your inner voice is saying. If I say a word like stress and you're like, actually, I want to say anger, just swap the word out. Okay? So starting on the side of your hand, repeating after me. Even though I've tried to hit goals in the past, I can remember those times. And I didn't achieve it. And that made me feel, and then just tell me how that made you feel, not achieving that goal. Sad, angry, disappointed, ashamed. How did it make you feel? I choose to accept myself anyway. Even though I've failed to hit my goals in the past. And it made me feel, and then tell me again how it made you feel. Ashamed, embarrassed, sad, angry, disappointed. And maybe I can feel that in my body right now. As I remember those times. And I choose to accept myself anyway. Even though when I play that movie in my mind, when I see myself and hear myself saying what I'm going to achieve, and then I don't, oh man, it feels terrible. It makes me feel, and tell me again how it makes you feel. Tell me out loud. And maybe I can feel that in my body. And tell me where you feel it in your body and what it feels like. So again, is there a knot in your solar plexus? Is there an ache in your shoulders? Are your knees twinging? Tell me where you're feeling this in your body and what it feels like. Tell me out loud. I deeply and completely accept and forgive myself. Then I'm going to come up to the eyebrow. When I play that movie in my mind, side eye. When I remember all those times, under eye. Where I said I would achieve something, on the nose, and then I didn't. Chin. It makes me feel, and tell me again how it makes you feel. And I can feel that collarbone right there in my, and then say where you feel it in your body. If you can't feel it in your body, just say, I can't feel it in my body. It's fine. Underarm. It makes me feel, and tell me again how it makes you feel, remembering the goals you failed to hit. Top of head. Why would I put myself through that again? Eyebrow. Because it felt really bad. Side eye. Even just remembering it feels bad. Under eye. And maybe I told other people what I was going to do. On the nose. And then I didn't do it. Chin. And it makes me feel, and tell me again how it makes you feel. Collarbone. And when I feel that way, underarm, it makes me believe something about myself or about the world in general. Top of head. Maybe that I'm not good enough. Eyebrow. Maybe that it's too hard. Side eye. Maybe that I'm just not special enough. Under eye. Maybe that I'm too lazy. Under nose. It makes me believe I can never do it. Chin. When I feel like this, collarbone, I start to believe, and tell me out loud what it is you start to believe about yourself. Underarm. Tell me out loud when you feel this way about not hitting goals in the past. Top of head. What do you start to believe about yourself? What do you start to tell yourself? Eyebrow. And I choose to acknowledge that. Side eye. And the more I believe that, under eye, the more I feel, and tell me again how it makes you feel. On the nose. And so I'm in this vicious circle. Chin. The more I believe it, the worse I feel. Collarbone. The worse I feel, the more I believe it. Underarm. Is it any wonder I'm resisting setting a goal? Because not achieving my goals is literally destroying my confidence. Eyebrow. It's really making me doubt myself. Side eye. It's making me feel really stressed and anxious and low. Under eye. I say really mean stuff to myself. On the nose. I can't do it. Chin. I'm not good enough. Collarbone. It's not fair. Underarm. It's too hard. Top of head. Why would I put myself through that again? Eyebrow. So I'm just not going to set a goal. Side eye. Or I'm going to set a really teeny tiny goal that just isn't fucking worth it. Because I'm under eye, because I'm frightened. On the nose. I don't want to feel like that again. Chin. Or maybe I'll go in the other direction. Collarbone. Maybe I'll set a goal so huge. Underarm. So out there. Top of head. That I haven't got a chance in hell of achieving it. Eyebrow. Either so I can prove myself right. Side eye. Or to protect myself. Under eye. Because if the goal is too big, on the nose, no wonder I didn't achieve it. Chin. It gives me a get out of jail free card. Collarbone. No one will think less of me for not achieving it. It's so big. I'm a friggin' genius with that. And it's just because I'm trying to protect myself. Eyebrow. It's not because I'm bad or stupid. Side eye. I'm just trying to protect myself. Under eye. Because it hurt when I didn't achieve it. On the nose. You just don't understand, Claire. Chin. It really hurt when I didn't achieve it. Collarbone. So it's no wonder that I'm protecting myself now. Underarm. And I choose to honor that. I choose to, top of head, I choose to forgive myself for that. Eyebrow. All that hurt that I felt. Side eye. I acknowledge it. Under eye. All that fear that I'm feeling. On the nose. I acknowledge it. Chin. There's nothing wrong with me for feeling it. Collarbone. But maybe I don't have to let it stop me. Underarm. There are going to be times where I fail. Top of head. And that's okay. Eyebrow. At least if I'm failing. Side eye. I know that I'm trying. Under eye. And maybe I can give myself a bit of kudos for that. On the nose. All those times in the past. Chin. Where I tried and failed. Collarbone. And the way that made me feel. Underarm. The thing that made me believe. Top of head. I acknowledge it. Eyebrow. And I forgive myself for it. Side eye. And I'm open to the possibility. Under eye. That I'm okay. on the nose. And just because I've failed in the past, chin, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to fail again. That was my door, by the way. Collarbone. But even if I do, that's okay too. Eyebrow, because at least I'm trying. Top of head. And I choose to show myself compassion around this. Eyebrow. That little voice inside my head. Side eye. It's just frightened. Under eye. But it is okay. On the nose. That feeling in my body. Chin. Maybe it's a little bit less now. Collarbone. But even if it's not, that's okay too. Underarm. I give myself permission to feel the fear and do it anyway. Top of head. I choose to clear any remaining goal trauma from my body. Take a breath. And have a little check-in with yourself. How are you feeling? I want you to take just a moment and close your eyes if you want to. And just think about that time or those times again when in the past you said you'd cheat, you'd do something and you didn't. You didn't get it. Bring that again into your mind. And as you think about it again now, post-tapping, I'd like you to notice what's changed. Either physically, in terms of how your body is responding to it, or maybe in terms of how it looks in your head, or maybe in terms of the things that your little inner voice is saying. And as you revisit this, I'd like you to give it another number, 1 to 10, about how intense the bad feeling feels. And compare it to the number you had previously. Now, obviously, one of 3 things is going to happen to your number. It's going to go up, say the same, or go down. What we're looking for is for it to come down. If it has come down, fantastic. If it's just come down a little bit, that's cool too. We're still in the right direction. If it hasn't moved, that's still fine. And actually, that's really interesting. Gives you really good information. And I'm going to invite you to get more specific about the thing that you said you'd achieve and you didn't. Really dig into it. Talk to yourself about who else was there, what it was, what happened, why you didn't achieve it, what other people said to you when you didn't achieve it. I'd also like you to notice if there is a little part of you saying that you're not allowed to let that number go down, that somehow you need that to drive you to achieve it next time, that it needs it somehow for motivation. Because that can impact whether or not you release that number or not. If there's part of you going, well, I can't let it go. And just address that. I can't let it go. Can't let this number go. And in fact, in chat, if anyone's number is the same or it's gone up, just pop something in chat for me and we can spend a little bit of time addressing it. And the other option, of course, is that your number went up. And again, this is really good information. What was it that you thought about or said that caused that intensity to spike? Because that's what you tap on next. Everything you get, every feedback you get as you do this tapping, everything that happens is feedback. It's like being a detective of yourself, which is amazing because you can't get it wrong. For anyone worried about getting it wrong, you can't get it wrong. Woo! But just get curious as to what the feedback from your body and the intensity and the numbers and what you're seeing. Just get curious to what that is feeding back to you. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is close your eyes again, take a breath, let it go. And I'd like you to imagine that you're watching yourself on a movie screen, so you can see yourself there, and you are achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve. Maybe you're taking some action that is going to bring the thing towards you. Maybe you've got the thing itself. But just imagine seeing that on the movie and notice how you look on that movie screen as you have the thing, as you receive the thing, as you do the thing. Notice what your facial expression is. Notice what your body language is doing. Notice what you're wearing, where you are. Are you alone or are there other people with you? Are you talking? Are you laughing? What's going on? And as you watch that, you can imagine how that version of you feels. Maybe happy, maybe excited. And then when you're ready, you're going to step into that you on the movie screen so that you then see through that version of you, you're going to see through their eyes. So whereas before you're watching yourself, now you're inside yourself looking out through your eyes in that movie. And notice what you see. Notice how you feel. Become aware of what you're doing. Your tone of voice, how people around you are reacting to you. Or if you're on your own, how you feel about that, what other stuff is there, if there's anything there. But I really want you to hone in on that feeling, as if you're uploading that feeling. Maybe excitement, maybe joy, maybe happiness, maybe a sense of achievement, maybe feeling proud. But allow that to start to fill your body. Give it a color. Is it orange? Is it turquoise? Is it green? Is it gold? Is it something else? But imagine that feeling as a color and imagine it expanding throughout your body, bathing every cell, muscle, fiber, and tissue in that colorful feeling until it fills your entire body, and still it grows. It expands out beyond your body. It fills your entire room. It's filling your house, and still it's growing. It's feeling bigger, brighter, bolder, louder. Really, really good. Double that feeling, triple it, quadruple it. Feel it in every single cell of your body, and still it expands further. It covers your entire town, the whole of your country, and still it expands further. It covers the whole world. Still it expands further, getting faster now, going out into the universe. And the more you send this feeling out, notice that the more of that feeling you get back. And just place your hand on your heart center and take a moment to really feel that. And take a breath. And let it go. And when you're ready, if you had your eyes closed, you can open them. You're back in the room. So Jenny, thank you for your comments there. Didn't try hard enough, lacked confidence. Solar plexus trembling, put others in the family first, as I didn't believe in myself, not important enough, disappointed in myself, right? So the stress level came down. Excellent, 8 to 5. Why not have a go with a new project? Inner voice says, awesome. We love getting our inner voice on board. Boost my own confidence and not rely on other people encouraging me, encourage myself. Isn't that interesting? Love that. Love that. But really key about the disappointment, about the not important enough. So this is something, as you set yourself a new goal, be conscious of that coming up, because that's what you can do some tapping on. And then you can maneuver the tapping. So deal with the negative first, which sounds a bit weird, but you deal with the negative first, you clear out the shit, and then you can put some positive, good tapping in its place. So, I'm so disappointed in myself. I couldn't do it. I have to put other people first. I'm just not important enough. These are all the things that I believed. And maybe it's not true. And maybe actually I can put myself first. And what if I did do that? And just have a little play with it. Talk to yourself about it as you go through the tapping process. Awesome stuff. Great share. Thank you, Jenny. So as I was saying at the beginning of this call, I want you to have a think about, I want to have a think about a couple of things. I would like you to have a think about what your ideal life looks like and write it out. Write it out. Write it on a bit of paper, in a journal. And then as you do that, or as you read it back to yourself, tap. Notice how your body responds. Especially if you're rereading it to yourself, tap as you reread it. Notice how your body reacts to it. Notice what your inner voice says to it. So it's going to give you indications of where the blocks and resistances are that are going to sabotage you further down the line. So let's deal with them now. The next thing I'm going to invite you to do is have a think about the action steps that will have to happen for you to achieve your ideal life. So I'd like you to pick out one area of your ideal life. Maybe business, maybe money, maybe health, maybe relationships. Pick out one area. And I'd like you to set yourself 3 goals. I'm going to call them rocks. And these should be different from a to-do. These are not a to-do, these are a rock, a goal. They are not an action step, they are a goal. And I'd like you to put against them a time frame and how you will know when you've achieved it. So some kind of measurability, if that's a word. It is now. I claim it. It's mine. 3 of them. And then from those 3, and I'm going to say set like a 90-day period. It's up to you, but generally rocks, I tend to do my rocks as 90-day periods for 3 months. Of those 3, pick 1 for the next 90 days. Pick 1. Remember, this is not a to-do, this is a goal. So the goal might be to achieve an increase, a 50% increase in revenue in 90 days' time. And you can measure that by looking at the incomings and goings of your bank account. So it's not a to-do, it's a goal. Pick one of those 3, and that's going to be the one you roll with for the next 90 days. When you've picked that one goal, you're then going to rough out some action steps to help you to achieve the goal. So these are your to-dos. If you're going to double your revenue in the next 90 days, some shit's going to have to happen. You're going to have to advertise. You're going to have to maybe go networking, whatever it might be, or whatever. If you want to get healthier, then maybe it's to join a gym, maybe it's to go running however many times a day. If you ever see me running, run too, because something's chasing me. I don't agree with running. Fundamentally don't agree with it. But some people like it, even though people are weird. But those are your to-dos. So you're setting your intention with the ideal life. You're then setting a goal, and you're then setting to-dos, action steps, that will move you towards your goal. And when it moves you towards your goal, it then moves you closer to your ideal life. So that is going to be your homework. Start drafting this out and have it rolling over setting it. I tend to do it every 90 days. You can do it every month or every 6 months, whatever it might be. But have it rolling. Come back to it, reassess it. You want to be checking in with yourself on a regular basis. How am I doing? How am I doing? Am I doing these action steps? Am I struggling with anything? Do I need any resources to help me with this? You know, is there something that I don't know that I need to learn? Start thinking ahead with your action steps. Start planning. Start becoming conscious and aware of stuff that might come in to upset you taking that action step, to put a spanner in it, and be prepared for it and tap on it. And if you read back those action steps or that goal and you start to feel overwhelmed, that is where you bring some tapping in as well. So let's do a little bit. Let's just finish off with a little whisk round for any potential overwhelm that might be going on with the thought of doing this. And we're just going to start on our eyebrow, repeating after me. The mere thought of doing all this, side eye, is making me feel really overwhelmed. Under eye, it feels like a lot. On the nose, it feels like it's too much. Chin, maybe I don't even know what to do. Collarbone, but it's making me feel really overwhelmed thinking about it. Underarm, and I feel the overwhelm right there in my body. Top of head, and if I had to give this overwhelm a number, I would give it, and tell me what number you give it. Eyebrow, I acknowledge this overwhelm. Side eye, I'd be an idiot not to feel overwhelmed. Under eye, but maybe I don't have to feel overwhelmed. On the nose, it feels like a lot. Chin, but all I'm doing right now is planning it out. Collarbone, and by planning it out, underarm, I can find my starting point. Top of head, I can discover my first step. Eyebrow, and that's all that has to happen right now. Side eye, but without planning it, how do I know what that is? Under eye, and maybe I've not planned before. On the nose, I've just tried to do stuff. Chin, and maybe that felt more overwhelming. Collarbone, because I had no direction. Underarm, I didn't know what to do first. Top of head, so I tried to do everything. Eyebrow, I choose to forgive myself for that. Side eye, at least now I know it doesn't work. Under eye, I give myself permission to plan this out. On the nose, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Chin, in fact, it shouldn't be perfect. Collarbone, all I want is an idea. Underarm, that's all I'm looking for here. Top of head, I'm just looking to open myself up to the opportunities. eyebrow. And I can't do that unless I know what I want. I choose to allow myself to focus on what I want. Under eye. And what has to happen to achieve that? On the nose. Allowing that overwhelm to reduce a bit more now. Chin. Because I can tap as I go. Collarbone. Be gone, overwhelm. Underarm. And I choose to feel a bit calmer about it. Top of head. I choose to feel a bit more in control and empowered about it. And take a breath. And let it go. Lovely stuff. Just check in with yourself again. That overwhelm, you gave it a number at the beginning. What is the number now? If you still need to keep tapping on it, keep tapping on it. Talk to yourself about all the ways you're feeling overwhelmed and tap through the points as you do that. Awesome stuff. So lovely people, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that was useful. I still find it really strange when we have to see people. I usually do Zoom calls. I usually have lots of faces in front of me. This is really weird doing on YouTube. I can't see anyone. All I can see is me. It's really boring. And if you've got any questions, info@claire-turner.com, all the bits in Claire, or you can drop a comment under the live on YouTube, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? And hopefully see you again for the next one, which will be in 2 weeks' time, whatever day that is. I want to say 31st. Oh, 31st. Same time, same place. Have a wonderful couple of weeks, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me. Toodles.